Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. This episode is intended to provide you with an update on the federal defamation lawsuit that was filed by a University of Idaho professor against an internet sleuth / psychic. It is styled as Schofield versus Guillard. The episodes that we have presented on this podcast and on our sister YouTube channel, links to both are included in the description to this podcast episode. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch and listen both of those prior presentations, please do, because as I've stated, this is an update. We've now learned that on May 15th, 2025, the defendant, Ms. Guillard, filed 3 documents in the federal case directly related to the state matter, styled as Idaho versus Kohberger. One was a copy of her motion filed in the state case entitled Ashley Guillard's Motion for Access to Non-Disclosed Records. The second is Judge Hippler's order, which struck that motion from the record. So until now, the public was not aware of what Ms. Guillard was asking for. Judge Hippler's order also required that if Ms. Guillard was seeking any records from the Idaho versus Kohberger case, that she file a public records request, and it provided an address for her. The third item appears to be an email to Ms. Guillard from Criminal Records Request Department at Ada County. It is dated May 12, 2025. Topic is Guillard's request for sealed records, case number CR0124316665. It says, "Thank you for contacting the Records Department. Your email has been received. We will reply within 3 days in the order it has been received. Thank you. Your patience is appreciated." There is nothing further on the federal docket to indicate whether or not Ms. Guillard received a substantive response from the Criminal Records Request Department in Ada County, if any records were disseminated to her, if her request was denied, or anything further. If you go to the PACER system, public access to court electronic records for the federal government, this is where the federal courts allow the public to access court records in federal lawsuits such as this case. You can see what it is that Ms. Guillard was asking. Briefly, this is a multiple page motion. It is entitled Ashley Guillard's Motion for Access to Non-Disclosed Records. It begins on page 1 stating that several of the non-disclosed records in the state's case provide evidence that substantiates Guillard's affirmative defense of absolute truth in the aforementioned civil case. And this is the civil case in the federal court styled as Schofield versus Guillard, case number 322CV00521REP. Goes on to say that, however, the records in the state case are withheld from the public due to the non-dissemination order. Without access to the records, Guillard's ability to provide evidentiary proof of her statements are limited, causing an impediment to due process for Ashley Guillard. If you flip ahead to page number 4, you will see where her requests begin. The first item that she was seeking was AT&T phone records for Mr. Kohberger. The second item is financial records for one of the victims. She's also seeking an interview with a specific party with law enforcement that occurred on November 13th, 2022, and that person's phone records. And there's several other items, including DNA records, including records related to autopsy reports, and finally, the abandoned white Elantra found in Oregon, which, if you recall, in December of 2022, law enforcement investigated this abandoned white Elantra and apparently determined it had no connection to the crimes at 11/22. We will continue to keep you updated as further developments arise. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us today.